Hello and welcome back to another episode of Mr. Das P1's Gold Rush. And judging from the previous video, there definitely isn't a gold rush going on up here at all.
I don't think there's much gold along here at all.
No, there's none.
No.
So here's a little recap of what happened, and I was actually on a wild camping and prospecting trip with a fellow gold panner who goes by the name of the Aur Prospector from Wales. And having decided to hike up a beautiful little burn, which wasn't too far from the camp, we tried our luck searching for the good stuff, which turned out to be more of a challenge than we expected. Because the gold simply wasn't there. We tried moving boulders out of the way and sluicing the gravels. Along with trying to understand what was going on along the course of this burn. We also spent a lot of time looking in each other's pans, hoping to see the tiniest specks of gold. And most of all, we had a laugh, and in the end we did manage to find a few visible specks of gold when we went back down to the main river. It saved the day. So here we are now, about to embark on another gold prospecting adventure, but this time we're going to the wee Scottish burn, which is where I normally go to, because there's definitely some gold there, to complete this story.
So we think we're going to go somewhere else today because we need to find some gold, put it in the pan for you to see. Well, you've got a good spec, haven't you?
Yeah.
And I've got diddy specs, and it's not enough really. Well, hello and welcome to another episode of Trying to Find Gold in the UK. My name's Mr. Das P1 and this is the home of Gold Rush UK, and there is no gold rush. I'm going off what we did the other day, we've not got a fat lot to show anyway. So I've come down here today with the Aur Prospector, Jason. He's just round the corner, he's sluicing. I've got my super sluice here, the Caledonian Super Sluice. So let's see what we can do today, finding gold in these gravels. So come on, let's crack on.
And so from the start, the Aur Prospector, he was off. He found this rock in the middle of the flow and started to work the gravels, and he was already knee deep in water.
Bucket number one.
Bucket number one. So we've already prospected behind that rock and he's found a couple of specks. So he decided to go sluicing.
And when you're sluicing, there's something so therapeutic about it. Time passes by as you feed the materials through the riffles.
And just looking at Jason's sluice, I can see a speck down there. I'm not sure what that is there, could be lead. You can see all the heavies are in there. Definitely collecting all the ironstones. First clean up going on. Any joy?
Lots of yellow.
Oh.
I don't know if it's the right yellow.
And yes, there was some gold, and we'll come back to that later on when we do the cleanups. But I was more interested in working these gravels that went right up to a bedrock ledge.
Well, the sun's come out now, it's lovely and warm. It rained earlier on in the morning. It's perfect now. I'm glad that I've actually stayed and come out to make this part two. While we're at the sluice, let's have a look at the exchange that's going on down here. There's lots of vibrant activity. It's all being turned over and pushed right back into them riffles. When we talk about exchange, you can see in particular here in this midsection, that's really heavy material, ironstone. Anything red like that or brown, there's your ironstones, and it chocks up. So there's a big band there of heavy materials. You can see down here, everything's still dancing around on these last 3 riffles. It's forcing everything back and in. Let's feed it, only lightly. All the larger stones roll off and the heavier materials are just pushed right back in there. You can feed this with a big spade, but I'm using my scoop today. Hopefully trying to catch as much fine gold as possible. I've got to be mindful though of that building up and not allowing the gold to settle.
So let's have a look at the sluice I'm using today in more detail. On the right is the feed zone and an area we call the top mat. This is where you shovel the materials or the gravels onto the sluice as the water flows through it. The gravels then move over the next section where the riffles are located. If we add some water to the diagram, you can see the direction of the flow. And another key factor is having a good laminar flow, which basically means a very smooth and clear water flow that you can literally see straight through, and you can often see this when you've got a really nicely defined V shape when you're sluicing. The design of the sluice box also incorporates a slight arc in the way the riffles are set. They are also ramped, which creates a smooth flow along the surface of the sluice, allowing larger stones to run off and the gold to travel to the collection points where the pressure is much lower. The movement of the pebbles through the sluice in this fashion is called saltation, and it also takes place in the river itself, whilst the lighter materials will carry on down the sluice run and move out in suspension. Because gold is so much heavier than most of the materials being processed, it will stay there. The next diagram here shows the likely places where the gold will come to rest. The majority of the gold should be recovered in the first few riffles, and the top mat simply gives an indication of what is potentially going to get trapped. So you might see your lead, or you might see small specks of gold on there. And looking at the riffles even closer now, you can see how the profiles have been subtly designed to help improve the gold recovery, and more so for the fine gold. If the gold doesn't get the chance to come to rest at the first riffle, it can make its way along the ramp to the next low pressure drop-off point, and so on and so forth. The design and profile of the riffles is aimed at creating a vortex on each section where the heavies get a chance to drop out. And when a sluice is running very well, you'll also hear people talk about the exchange going on, and that's where the heavier materials are forcing their way towards the lowest point on that riffle section. And finally, along with the gold, other heavy materials will collect, such as black sands, ironstones and lead, to name but a few.
Is this bucket number 5?
Bucket number 5.
Number 5. Shoveling it through.
No messing.
I'm taking my time with this big bad boy here, and Jason's pounding it through. But we've got some gold on the top mat. You can see a speck there, quite visible. We've got a speck there, nice and visible. It's not moving, is it?
No.
Nice one.
And Jason was great company beside me at the river. He's very knowledgeable and a very keen gold panner.
I've just heard them words, the bigger bits are coming. So Jason's onto something, let's have a look. It's hard to tell, that's a piece of gold there, isn't it?
Yeah.
And there?
Yeah. Perhaps it isn't. I don't want to move though.
No.
Well, there when I found it.
Yeah, well, we'll find out. Jason's on his third clean up. He thinks he's getting consistent, that's a good thing. Yeah, there's always bits. That's really good.
I've washed a big flake down in there as well. There's probably loads still in the heavies, but
yeah,
it's definitely consistent. And I'd say it's getting a bit more as I get to the bottom.
Yeah, it is. It is. But when you come to this river, that's what you'd expect. Whereas going to the river yesterday, well, from what I'm finding and Jason's finding, you don't get that.
But anyway, it was time for a spot of lunch, and I was starving, and the dog was too.
This looks a mess. My banana's had a right battering. Yeah, lad. Good boy. You've been a good boy today, haven't you? Yeah? Hey! Well, it is lunchtime, and I'm on, again, my third favourite. I had them yesterday. I think these are pilchards this time, though. Pilchards in tomato sauce, or the sardines. It always hits the spot. Lovely. Oh yeah.
And so whilst I enjoyed my sandwiches, I could hear the Aur Prospector in the background, pumping away some gravels like a good one. But I like my food, and I like to have a picnic beside the river. However, the clouds were looking ominous, and it was starting to rain, so it was time to do a final clean-up and get the hell out of here before the heavens opened up.
Let's go and do a clean up.
Oh. It's nothing going dark, isn't it?
Yeah.
Level it in. not even running so
It's still on side, isn't it? Look at all them heavies in there. All that red stuff. Heavies all the way through. Speck of gold, speck. So the top mat's not doing too bad. Speck there. And it started raining. All we needed. There's Jason's clean up. We've already got specks visible. Good sized specks there. All that dark material there.
Heavies in there.
Yeah.
So we knew that Jason had gold in the pan, and for one last desperate push, I had a go at getting some gravels from behind that rock in the middle of the flow, before the heavens opened up. And then it was time for the final clean up.
Well, we have got specks of gold in there. I did try just to follow the line across where the bedrock met the gravels. It's nothing to write home about, but we've got quite a few specks there. Another clean up with the Caledonian. We've got specks appearing here. Lots of heavies in there. There'll be more bits in there. And that's the pan that I panned into, and specks were coming out. So it all needs to be properly cleaned.
And here's some images from Jason's clean-ups, and I'd call that a pretty good session at this river.
Right, it's carried on raining. We've had a good day, been out with the Aur Prospector. Thanks a lot for that. It's been a pleasure.
Thanks for bringing me here, Dad.
You're welcome. Until the next time. Come on, lad. Show me the way. Come on. Up. Oh, watch yourself.